purchase a cottage, that cottage is a secondary home or a seasonal home.
Okay.
For this reason, the banks, they are providing a little bit higher mortgages because in their eyes, those ones, they are harder to sell than a property in GTA area, for example. To upgrade from a 3-season to 4-season, so you have to upgrade the heat source. So potentially it's better to have two kinds of heaters. So for example, to have a propane tank and also an electric baseboard, just in case the propane, the hydro is going down, you have a second chance to, the propane tank to work and to don't freeze during the winter. Also, you have to upgrade the cost from a 3 to 4 season ranges between to change it ranges between 5,000 to probably 50,000, depending what has to be done. So let's say if that cottage is a 3-season, you have to upgrade the windows, you have to upgrade the doors, you have to upgrade the isolation all around the house or at the attic.
Okay.
You have to upgrade to have at least two, just to be sure, as I said, a source of heating. And then you have to be sure that all the plumbing is very well isolated from the well to the cottage, because usually that one is the main thing that can be frozen, and then you'll have big problems. And then upgrade the utilities. You have to upgrade a lot, and again, it's between 5,000 and 50,000.
So depending
on what has to be done.
Yeah,
it has to be done.
And maybe we don't have to do it like right away. We can buy like a 3-season cottage,
rent it for 1 year for a whole season, make some money, and then with those money you can reinvest. Upgrading for 3-season to 4-season. Okay, so okay. So how we decide for location, for example, because there are so many places, especially in Ontario, beautiful places, and sometimes it's just hard to decide. I want a cottage, but we don't know where to buy. What is your suggestion? How you bought a cottage, right? Yes.
So how did you decide for that location for us?
Yeah. So first of all, I was trying to find a beautiful cottage in Muskoka Lakes. Okay, in Muskoka.
So you had your location.
I started with Muskoka because everybody loves Muskoka.
Okay.
It's a
so
brand
you knew
name.
You wanted Muskoka.
Muskoka. So this was the first search. I just did my research. And then, I visited some places. Of course, in Muskoka, it's a little bit more per square foot than in any other, part of the province. Just because it's a brand name. It's beautiful.
It's the demand, probably. Yeah.
The most expensive Lake Joseph, and then Muskoka Lakes, and Lake of Bays. So there are a lot of beautiful places. But because everybody wants to buy in Muskoka, then when I double check the Airbnb rules, because I'm thinking to I was thinking to rent out the place, then I found out they have the most stricter laws in all these counties. Meaning that you have to be careful if you want to buy in Muskoka. That the local government in that county, it's allowing you to do the Airbnb on the first place. Second, what does it mean to take a license? And then there are some buildings requirements, housing requirements. And then, could be special requirements, could be zoning requirements. So could be taxation. You have to look at taxation and all this stuff. And then, be sure that, let's say, an Airbnb client, they will become a long-term tenant. Then just be sure, check with all the local government laws, because the tenant on that case has much more rights. And will be much difficult to evict him in case he's not paying the mortgage, the rent on time. Is not he's doing some damaging, and etc. So you have to be very, very careful to look at all these. You have to go to the city on that, to see what the zoning laws are. You can find those in zoning provisions, to see if that cottage, for example, I just find out, I tried to put an offer at one point at a beautiful cottage on Lake of Bays, and then everything was seems to be amazing, and then I double checked the website, and they said in order to can get a license to operate is to have at least 4.5 meters from the side fence to the other
okay.
let's say neighbor. So let's say you know, the distance between your walls of the house and the fence with the next neighbor is just 4 meters, then you're not allowed to have an Airbnb.
You can't.
Yeah, so there are some small things, but very important. So then I decided not to buy that one.
Okay.
And then I switched, and you know, I just tried to search around, and I found one beautiful in Lennox Addington, and that in that county, you know, is just the you know, it's much easier. You have just to take a license, and if you get a license, you pay a fee, you get a license, and then you can operate without any other problems. Okay. Like, it's much easier.
So do you know the fees, how high they are, or? Depending
on each municipality has a different requirements, as I said. So in my case here, I love this place because what they're trying to do is, you know, for small counties like Frontenac, Lennox Addington, Lanark, you know, like, you know, between Peterborough, for example, and Ottawa, in that area, because they're trying to get as many visitors they can get to increase their economy, because if tenant is coming there,
so it's helping a little
it's helping
bit,
the economy. So because they you know, so you have to double check all this, you know, all these factors to see, you know, if it's a road access, how much money you pay per winter, for example, to have that, you know, to have access to that property.
Yeah, because it has to be cleaned,
yes,
right?
Exactly. another important aspect, you know, so if you compare cottages with normal investment in the city, in an apartment or a house, usually you know, the cottages, they have much more expenses than a normal house.
That was one of my questions, actually.
Yeah. So why? I'm telling you why. From the starting point, when you purchase a cottage, that cottage is a secondary home or a seasonal home.
Okay.
For this reason, the banks, they are providing a little bit higher mortgages, because in their eyes, you know, those ones, they are harder to sell than a property in GTA area, for example. So
although it's not necessary, right?
It's not necessary, but the banks for a secondary home, you know, and or a seasonal property, so you pay a little bit more in mortgage than for a normal home. Second, because they are not connected to the city switch, they don't have a city switch. Usually they have septic systems or holding tanks. What's the difference between those two?
Yes, please, if you can explain.
Yeah. So, for example, from my experience, you know, the holding tanks, they are used usually on the properties that they don't have enough space to build a septic system. So there are so many properties on the lake in a very, you know, narrow lots that based on the city bylaws, you know, that the septic has to be a minimum, I don't know, 16, 15 feet from the house, from everybody's fence. So, you know, imagine 20, 30 feet, and then the well has to be on the other side of the house, you know, just to be sure that will not be contaminated by the septic. So all these requirements requires a bigger lot.